folks, this is Jason with the Primal Outdoors channel. Today I'm with Trevor with Dirt Road Garage, and we're going to be doing something to my Ford E350 van that I've been wanting done for a long time, and that is we're going to install an undermount propane tank. In the van I have a propane heater, and then of course I use propane for cooking. I've typically been just using a regular 20-pound tank inside the van. And I'm not really worried about having the tank inside the van. I know a lot of people kind of get concerned about that being inside, but in the end, no matter what, there's going to be propane lines inside the van. So as long as you got a good propane detector, that's not really a problem. My big thing is I just don't really want the tank inside the van. It takes up space. I only have so much room inside the van for living. Having that big tank in there is a big space taker. So, and then on top of that, I have to go in there into the van and tear everything apart to get the tank out so I can fill it, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. So what I've wanted to do for a while is install an undermount propane tank like what you see a lot on the Westphalia vans. And I did some research, and I found that the Manchester Tank Company that makes this tank for the Westphalias also makes a larger tank, because the one that's on the Westphalia is actually only a 3.3 gallon tank. This one is roughly around 7 gallons that we're going to put on the van. So anyways, I'll just kind of introduce Trevor. What do you guys do here at Dirt Road Garage?
So here at Dirt Road Garage, we're pretty much everything overland, off-road, 4x4 related. We do custom fabrication to lift installs, bumpers, roof racks, pretty much any accessory add-ons to your full custom builds, custom fabrication, welding, metal bending, the whole 9 yards.
Nice. So I felt like they were a good person to do this because this is kind of a custom install. The nice thing is too, you actually had your own 4x4 van that you were able to kind of mock everything up. So we're pretty much ready to go. So we're going to get into this install. We're going to bring you guys along so that you guys can see where we're installing the tank, kind of how they're doing it, and then you can either decide to try to take it on yourself, or if you don't want to do it, you can bring it here and have it installed.
Awesome.
I think that's all we got.
So we got the tank here. We're gonna be slipping it up in between the body and the frame. We have about 6 inches between the outside of the body and the inside of the body. So as you can see all the valves here, we're gonna be tucking this up inside so that nothing's gonna be hanging below the frame rails. And we're actually gonna cut an access door so that way if any of the filling or if you need to hook up to any of the valves, there will be a little access door on the outside. But all the valves are actually gonna be inside the body, nice and secure above the frame rails. So you're not gonna have to worry about anything hitting those and damaging the tank itself.
Or we might have to cut this frame, or I mean this body mount a little, or a cross member here a little bit to fit it up further to make sure. I mean, I know they're gonna be above the railing, but we're trying to get them up in here.
Right.
So we're just taking off the valves, making a little bit better clearance for us while we mock up the fitment of the tank. So we're just gonna take off everything that's sticking out, get it fitted, and then we'll install them back before we mount the tank.
Just one of those.
So we just made some new brackets. The way the tank was fitting underneath the van, we wanted to angle it a little bit to make sure that these valves are out of the way. They're not hitting on the frame rails or on the body. So we just took the old ones, which are just 90-degree bent, and made some new ones. Have a little bit of angle to it. So when we bolt it up there, we can actually have a little bit more angle to the tank. So we're just gonna cut these floor supports so we can get the tank up as close to the bottom of the floor as possible. So there's just these cross members which support the floor to the frame and the body. And we're just gonna cut those, notch those out to give a little bit more clearance for that tank to sit up closer underneath the floor. So we just welded the bolts onto the brackets, and these bolts are gonna go through the floor. Made it a little bit easier, so if it's somebody wants to take the tank out by one person, they're not having to try to get to the bolt and the nut at the same time. Now it'll just be a nut from the top of the floor down that you need to remove. So we just took the past couple minutes to get the fitment of the tank nice and perfect, made sure all our mounting holes were in the correct spots. So now we're at the point where we're actually gonna cut the inside of the van body to allow for the valves to stick in between the outside of the van body and the inside. And then we're gonna cut in a small outside access door. I'm just adding the regulator to the tank. Then we have a hose running from the regulator up inside the van to the main cabin area. So right now we're just plumbing it in to the wall of the van. All right, we're just masking off the van here. We're gonna add in the access door. So we have this swinging door that'll go right here so that we can access into the valves, and all your filling and relief valves are accessible from the outside of the van. So we're just throwing some sheet metal screws in this for right now. Since the van's gonna be painted, we're gonna just put sheet metal screws in, and then later we're gonna come back and we'll remove the door and put black pop rivets in to make sure it's secured nicely.
All right, guys, well, that pretty much wraps up the project. Everything went fairly smooth for our first time install. Of course, every time you do something for the first time, there's a little bit of extra figuring that you have to do. So how do you feel the install went so far?
I think it went pretty good. Like I said, there's a couple things we had to figure out along the way, but overall I'm pretty happy with the end product, the placement of the tank and the door and access of everything.
Yeah, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. The tank is well tucked up into the van. There is definitely no chance that I'm going to hit that tank or anything when I'm out for buying. I would hit the gas tank well before I hit the actual propane tank. You know, we had a little bit of problem with the access door. The little latch that came on the access door wasn't as good as we want, so we've kind of makeshifted something together right at the moment, and I'll figure something else out in the way of making that work the way I want. But as it is right now, I'm really happy with the installation. It looks great. I think it's going to be a huge upgrade to the van as far as just more propane, clearing that space out of the interior so I don't actually have to use that space up in there. Easier filling of the propane tank as well. So. Anyways, man, great job.
Pleasure.
If this is something you might want to do to your Ford E350 van, definitely give Trevor at Dirt Road Garage a call. I'll put his website here on the screen so you guys can check it out, and we'll see you guys again outside.